Okay, I guess you can let everybody in and get started.
Okay, well, one moment. I have too many windows, too many screens. Second. Hello, everyone, and welcome to Daminion Talks.
Hello.
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 Hello, everyone.
Hello.
Hello. We would like to ask you to mute microphone for the first part of this webinar. Then we will have questions and answer session, and we will ask you to unmute and ask all your questions. How does it sound to you?
Yeah, that's fine.
Perfect.
Okay, all right. We have a few more people in the waiting room, so let's wait for maybe additional minutes or two to admit everyone. If you're not muted, please mute your microphone for the first part of our webinar, and then we will ask you to unmute for questions and answer session. Okay. Wow.
Hello, everybody.
Hello.
Hello.
A few more people are joining us. Okay, all right. It seems that we are all set right now. And let me share my screen. And let us start the Daminion webinar and our first Daminion talks for today. Well, welcome everyone once again. It's our first Daminion talks, and thanks a lot for joining us today. Today we are going to talk about the features that are rarely in use, but that can save you tons of time when you implement them in your working process. We will demonstrate you both versions of Daminion software, desktop application and web version, web interface, and we will also announce new features that will be released soon and share our grand plans for this year. And also we will have questions and answer session at the end of this meeting. Well, feel free to ask your question during our Zoom webinar directly in the chat. We will definitely get back to them a bit later, and we will discuss everything that you would like to know about Daminion. A recorded version of webinar will be available a bit later. We will send you a link via email. For those of you just joining us, welcome to Daminion Talks. My name is Kate, and let me introduce to you our speakers for today. Dean, he's our head of Daminion in South Africa, and Daria, our most experienced Daminion customer care specialist and technical support specialist. Dean will start our webinar. Just one moment, and Dean will tell you more about the Daminion desktop application, and will also answer all your questions at the end of our call. Well, Dean, please, your turn.
All me. Thank you, Kate. Yeah, let me also just share my monitor here. Okay. Right, so, you know, I always like to refer to Daminion as a bit of a Swiss Army knife because there is a blade for doing every single thing that you can think of related to working with digital assets. And usually we end up just using it as a glorified search engine. So we thought, let's jump through some of the features that we seldom use and shine a bit of a spotlight on them, and show you a couple of different scenarios and use cases. Firstly, what I want to talk about is the facial recognition that's been released in Daminion. Let me just switch to my Daminion client over here. So you'll notice it's a module that you have to install on the server side, and as well, when you want to access that functionality, you can do it in one of two ways: by either hitting this icon at the top on your toolbar over there, or you can access it from the catalog menu. So when you activate this, Daminion will, during the asset ingest process, Daminion goes through a process of recognizing faces within your catalog. So, for example, if I want to look at this image now, I can simply double click it and I can locate in my catalog where that particular face occurs. So, then it's a simple matter of simply just having a look at them, assigning data. So let's call this Kate. So this is going to be Kate, and we hit OK, and then that assigns it. And then you can sequentially go through this list now, obviously, and eliminate all the untagged people within your catalog. So it's a process of going through each one, identifying the person. You can examine the files, for example, and then identify people within your catalog. And then when you want to refer back to it, then it's a matter of going to your people tag. And if I now look for Kate's tag over there, then that will show the digital asset in question over there. Also to note is you can.
What are you doing now?
Sorry, okay. So to continue, so you can notice when you go to these different tabs over here, you can also edit your specific groupings. Say for example, I made a mistake and this is not the correct person. I can remove that from the grouping, and you can also choose to ignore faces. Granted, it is an algorithm that's doing the detecting, so you are going to find, for example, things that are identified as being a face that you want to omit from your tagging process. And as I suppose as the how can I say, the algorithms and things become more accurate, then obviously this process is also going to improve. But granted, this is a big step in the right direction, and this is all developed. It's not a third-party service that we use. This is a proprietary algorithm that the team at Daminion has developed, and it does all the detection basically in the Daminion software itself. Right, so let's jump quickly to the next most overlooked feature, in my humble opinion, is the import preset. So if you have a look at your assign tag preset option, you can access this from your Windows menu. So you just activate that tag preset option. And now I am going to create a set of metadata that I want to apply to files. Now you can apply this metadata in two stages, one of two stages. You can apply it during the import process, or you can apply it after the fact, by simply, you can assign a keyboard shortcut to it. So if you have repetitive metadata entry, for example, there's a specific photographer on a specific project, and it's all product shots of, a specific line of products, that metadata is going to be repeated over and over again. So instead of going after the fact and then going through 4 different places in your taxonomy to identify metadata and apply it, you can simply set up a preset. So let's do that over here. We're going to call this people. And what I am going to do is populate this with metadata. So we're going to assign a keyword over here. So as you can see there, my people preset is selected. I can select a shortcut as well. So you can use one of 5. They're over here. So if you want to use Control F1 through 5, you can just simply select that. So let's put a keyword over here, and we're going to call this model. So I select model. I select project as being XYZ shoot. And then we're also going to, let's tag, let's find something else to put on here. This is for Mardi Gras. Right, so we have got 3 sets of metadata, and now I am going to do the importing. So I'm going to select add files. So this is already on a folder on my server. I've got 2 folders here with some JPEGs in them. I'm just going to select both of these and hit add. Let me just see, so bear with me. I have to do them one at a time. So let's go firstly with men. And then you'll see my presets over here. Let me just see, did I save that? Let me just go. Bear with me. I have to construct it from scratch over here. So bear with me for a second. Let me just do that quickly. So we are going to go on our general tag over here. Let me just see, what am I doing there on my description? Sorry, that caught me a bit off guard there. But let me continue. Right, so I'm going to, I'm just going to fill random data in here. So we're going to call that people on the categories, and we are going to go with keywords. We are going to do models. Model, and then we are also going to select a client, which is going to be XYZ projects and dev. And there we have our preset set up. So this is going to be people. I'm not going to assign a shortcut to it. We hit OK. So that's going to be my selected preset over there. And all of these files that I'm ingesting are going to have this metadata pre-added into the mix. So you'll notice now when I select one of these files and we go to the properties inspector and we go onto description, you'll notice there that model is already selected, people in the categories, and then also the client. So it's just a way of streamlining your workflow, because nobody remembers 3-4 months down the line what that particular image was taken for or where that file is coming from. And when you get into the habit of adding metadata during the ingest process, it just saves so much time. And, because if you have to do your metadata assignments after the fact, it's usually a game of playing Sherlock Holmes, where you've got to go and investigate and look at call sheets and look at project specs to try and get your metadata handy. Whereas if you do it during the ingest process, all of that information is available to you and usually fresh in your memory as well. So it just streamlines the whole process. Next up, version control. This is one of my my favorites to to work with, because it basically keeps a history of your files. We always work in a shared folder environment where there are 3 or 4 people working on the same pool of files, and no 2 people think alike. So one person just duplicates a file as they're going, and at the end of the day, you end up with 20 different versions of the same file. You don't know which one is current. So if we have a look at the workflow with version control, so I have got here a collection of files. Let's just go with this particular one. So this is a laptop mockup, and we're going to replace the file in there. So what I'm going to do is check out and edit with Photoshop. Okay, so I've got my Photoshop here. You tell it where on your local system you're going to save it. That basically downloads the file from the server, checks it out, and it's going to open it up in my Photoshop application. So from here now, I can go to the bit that I want to edit, which is my screen smart object. So I'm going to take this and let me just switch over to my, bear with me. Just switch over here to my downloads folder. I've got this thumbnail that I want to put on the screen. So I'm going to place it. Right, we're going to do a bit of resizing. Just get it to fill the frame. We're going to apply and commit the changes. Close that off, save that, and there we have our file saved and ready for you. So I'm going to save this up, close my Photoshop. So I've done my edit now, and now when I get back to my Daminion client, I am going to check this file back in. So I'm going to go on my versions, check it in, and I'm going to say changed screen for promo flyer. And then I can also choose to remove or retain the original file that I've been working on my system now. So I'm just going to remove it, and that's going to add it back into the system, update it, and then you can see that would be the current version of the file that we want to work with. So now if you go on this V icon in the top there, you can also view your history of the file. So I can see this is the current version, who it was edited by, the comments, and then also I can see the original version. So now I can switch between these versions by right-clicking on this one. I can actually do a side-by-side comparison. I can revert back to this particular revision, or I can export the revision and save it as a file from the system. So it basically keeps an audit trail of all the changes that was made to a file. It just gives you more control over workflow, especially if you're working with brand assets that keep on changing and that have several iterations. It's a very handy way to keep your finger on the pulse. Right, let's move on to our next item, which would be saved searches. Now, this is one of the tools that I personally use on a daily basis, and it is invaluable in actually, getting to work with metadata compliance. So if I want to, for example, make sure that all my images from 2020 are tagged with the correct metadata, what I will do is I will basically create a saved search. And this is just a snapshot of the state of your metadata. So my untagged images 2020, that basically looks for all the images that have got no keywords assigned to it and that were created in 2020. So if I open up this search, you will see that there are 953 items within this search. So if I now go through it, let's just see, here are some infographics. So the aim of this search is to make sure that everything is tagged. So let's just scroll through all of this and select all the infographics. There's quite a bit of it here. And right up to there. So the aim is to get everything tagged. So I'm going to locate my infographics tag. And that's over there. So double click on it to select it in the tag tree, and I can take all of these, drag them and drop them onto the infographics label. Right, so that's going to assign that. And then if I refer back to this search by refreshing the page, then you'll notice it's gone down to 713. So you can basically set up a very complex hierarchy of metadata funnels to basically ensure that you have a standard of metadata within your system. And saved searches is one way of doing that because it gives you a snapshot of a specific set of metadata and the state of that within your catalog. Yeah, it's also very handy. You know, what we do in the production environment is we take several saved searches and we assign them to different team members. So we've got 3 people working in our digital asset management team. And for example, all the interior, exterior, that's just a binary shot when we're looking at a whole range of photographs of properties. You know, I'll assign that to one team member, and that'll just be a search where we exclude both interior and exterior. So any item that have neither of those tags assigned will pop up in the search, obviously. So, and then the next one would be, you know, a specific feature. We're looking for an exterior feature. So we can already use the results from the first search to look at everything that's exterior, and then we just exclude all the features that we have in our taxonomy. So it's a very, like I said earlier, it's a bit of a funneling process. So you create all these different sets of funnels through which you pour your digital assets. And at the end of the day, when everything gets to the bottom, you at least know that there's a certain standard of metadata that's been applied to everything across the board. Right, next up, that's it. That's me.
Thank you, Dean.
I'm sorry.
Thank you, Dean. I believe it was really useful.
Yeah, thanks.
For all of us. If you guys have any questions, please leave them in the Zoom chat. We will get back to them a bit later. And now Daria will tell us a bit more about Daminion Web.
Okay, hello everyone. Let me start sharing my screen. During my part of the presentation, I'm going to cover a few features that are similar or identical in Daminion Web Client, which is a part of the local Daminion server, and in Daminion Cloud. These features are normally not used in a single workflow, but I will show you how to combine them into a single workflow that you can involve multiple team members in. So, Dean, could you please tell me if my screen can be seen? Do you see my screen?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay,
everything's good.
Great. Okay, so I'm going to connect to my Daminion Cloud Catalog, and I'm going to do this as administrator first. I'm entering the credentials, and I'm in. Now, I want to check what projects my team is working on. I expand the projects tab, and I see that there are 2 projects relevant for this year. There are current projects and general projects. Let's take a look at our current projects. Okay, I see that my team is working on restaurants, ads, and brochures. By clicking on this checkbox, I can display all the files that are currently assigned to this project. I can now notice that the files are marked with different labels, different color labels, green, red, and yellow. And there are files of different file formats. I can expand the color label tab here and check what files have been approved for the brochures. I now see these 6 files, and now I can check the files that can be used for projects but have not been approved for brochures yet. Okay, I really like this file, and now I can ask my team member to use this specific file in their brochure they're working on. To do this, I'm going to leave a comment, and I'm going to address this comment to my team member, Lisa. And to initiate the commenting process, I'm going to open the file in full screen and select this icon. Now, you can leave multiple pins on the same photograph, which will mean that multiple commenting threads will be open. You can have multiple commenting threads at the same time. And the pin can be dropped specifically to a certain part of the image. If, let's say, you want to leave a comment on this part of the image, asking, for example, to remove this photograph, this frame from it, you can do it. You can drop the pin right onto here. But because I'm going to leave the comment to the whole image, I'm just going to randomly drop this pin. So I'm going to ask Lisa. Sorry, I need to work on my typing skills. Okay, Lisa, please use this image in your current restaurant brochure. Sorry, definitely need to work to, to improve my typing skills. So current restaurants brochure, and I'm going to post it. All right, let's assume this is all that I needed to do. I don't really need this current search. I'm going to drop it, and I'm going to exit this catalog. Now, let me log in as another team member. And because I'm working, I'm simulating two people working at the same time, and I only have one browser window opened right now, I'm exiting the session as administrator, and I'm connecting as Lisa, but in your environment, it's not necessary. So basically, administrator and Lisa could be connected at the same time, and it will not affect the workflow in any way. So I'm going to connect as Lisa. And right away, I see that I've got a notification. Now, if Lisa's session was open when the comment was left, the notification would have appeared right away. So by clicking on this notification, I can see who left a comment for me. And I can check the comment by clicking on this icon. Basically, the administrator asks me to use this image in my brochure. Okay, I agree, good. Now, to be able to quickly locate this image, I'm going to use the item ID later on when the brochure is opened. So now I can take a look at the item ID, or I can revert to the commenting thread later on to check it. Also worth mentioning that right now the comments are visible only in Daminion interface. So people need to be connected to be able to see the comments addressed to them or the updates in the commenting thread that they are participating in. We are working on implementing the notifications by email. So this feature is going to be available in the upcoming versions of Daminion. Okay. So let me exit the notifications, and now I'm going to go to projects, current project, display the files, and locate my brochure. Because I've got only 20 files assigned to this project, it's very easy basically to scroll down and locate the InDesign file. But let's say if many files are assigned to the same project and you really need to narrow down your search to locate the file you want to, you can apply additional search criteria. So for example, I can apply vector images, and I will quickly locate my InDesign file. Now, at this stage, I want to open this InDesign file in Adobe InDesign to be able to make changes to it. And in the latest versions, Daminion has the integration with Adobe InDesign, Photoshop, Premiere, and Illustrator. In my case, the plugin is already installed. But if the plugin, the connector, is not installed, what you can do, you can simply hold down your right mouse key and start dragging the item across the thumbnail area. And here you will see this window, which allows you to download the extension, the plugin. Well, in my case, it's already downloaded, but if you click on the download icon, you will see that you can download it for Windows or for macOS. Okay, now let me go to InDesign first to show you how it works, how the connector works, and where to access it once it's installed. So when you install the connector, you can, well, in InDesign, you can go to Window, to Extensions, and display Daminion connector. I'm already connected to the catalog, but let me log out and log back in to show you the process. So in the login window here, you will see the bar to enter the URL of your catalog. In my case, it's interiors.dominion.net, and also the login information. Now, it's very important to enter the same credentials that you use to currently work with your catalog. For example, if I connect to the connector as administrator, but I will try to perform some actions as Lisa, I will not be able to do that because Daminion will report the logon mismatch information. So let me connect as Lisa here. Okay, and let's say if you start with the connector instead of opening the catalog prior in your web browser, you can open the catalog right from here by clicking in the Open Dominion catalog icon. All right, so let me actually open my InDesign document. I'm just going to drag and drop it onto the panel. Okay. So here we go, the document is opened, you can scroll it up and down. I can see that there is one page with an image missing, and this is where I'm going to insert the image that the administrator asked me to do, asked me to insert. But before we do that, let me actually cover all the options that are available in the Dominion connector panel. If you click on this icon here in the menu icon, you will see that there are some options available here. So the first one is log document. If you click this option, the document will be locked in the main catalog, meaning that no one will be able to check it out, use version control on this version. And the last version for download will be the version saved prior to this one. Basically, if you log the document, you will make sure that nobody will make any additional changes while you're working with this document right now. You can also unlock the document when you finish the work, or if you just don't want to do it and you know that you're the only team member who is going to access this document at this particular moment. Now, when the changes are done, you can upload the document as a new asset or as a new version. And in this case, both the original version and the new version will be available in the catalog. Now, this option allows you to update all the images that are used in the InDesign document if someone updates the image in the catalog. Let's say someone is working on this specific image while you're working with the InDesign document, and they apply, let's say, some changes, make some amendments to this file, and they save this new file as a version. In this case, Dominion will show you the notification that the new version of the file is available here, and you can update the version with a single click, or you can just ignore the notification. Locate the document in Dominion. It's going to do just the same, open the file in Dominion catalog. Now, let's take a look at the settings, because this is an important thing to cover. So here, Dominion gives you an option how to handle network files. It's specifically important for Dominion local server when the files are stored on the network bus. In this case, Dominion has two options. The files can be opened by the existing bus, meaning that all the existing changes, that all the changes that you will make will be applied directly to the original file, and no versions will be created. The second option, which I'm also using because I'm using Dominion Cloud, allows you to download the files before you open them. And basically, you will be working with the copy of the file, not with the original file itself. And you will have an option to submit the changes as a new asset or as a new version. And of course, you can activate this option, ask how to handle the files after each drop, but you will be getting some notifications depending on how often you will be dropping the files into the document. Okay, let's go back to the catalog and actually embed one image into this empty area. Okay, so I know that I need to use an image. To quickly locate it, I can go to the notification once again, check the ID, and locate the file in the catalog. And now I'm going to search an item ID. And I'm going to simply start dragging and dropping the file. I'm going to place it right here. I can do some fitting in here. And now, as you can see, Daminion showed you an additional information window here. Basically indicates how the image was used. Right now, it was implemented as a preview, and you can see that the quality is not that great. You can use the previews when the document is being actively worked on, and the images that are being used are not finalized yet. In this case, you can use the preview, but you also have an option to use specific presets that have been created in the catalog. Like I can use original file right now, or 50% of the original file, or any preset that was created in the catalog will be available here. Okay, now when the file is embedded and I don't have anything to do with this brochure anymore, I can click on this icon and submit the changes as, let's do it as new version. Oh, okay, I will need to save the change first, Control S, and now let's submit the changes, upload as new version. I can describe what was changed. Press enter, and now on the background, Daminion is submitting these changes, is uploading the file. And basically at this point, I can close the document and exit Daminion connector. Now, here in the catalog, I'm back in the catalog. I can quickly locate my InDesign document. I'm going to go to, again, vector images, projects, and select current project. And I can check what was changed by going to version control. Okay. So the changes, okay. I don't think I've saved the file. Let me just do it like this. Okay, so if this happens, you can check the file back in by clicking this icon. I think I have not clicked on the button to upload the file properly in Daminion, and if this happens, you can go to version control, check the file back in like this, or if necessary, you can click on undo, and Daminion will revert the changes to the previous version of the file. Now, when the file is submitted, now because I have already used this image file in the InDesign document, I can go back to commenting and leave a comment for administrator. Changes done. And at this moment, I can exit the catalog and log back in as administrator. Okay, again, I received a notification that Lisa left a comment for me. And at this point, I can resolve this thread, or I can delete this thread. Okay, let's go with resolve. Now, let's go back to our current project. And at this moment, I would like to create a shared collection out of the files, out of all files that have been used in the current InDesign document. So, because this file was already used, I'm going to change the color label for this file. And I'm going to create a shared collection. The shared collections can be sent internally or externally. So let me select the files. Also, the shared collections can contain files of different file formats, images, video, vector images, audio files. There is no limitation on basically how many files you add into the shared collection or what file types are used in the files in the shared collection. And to create the shared collection, you will need to click on the three dots icon here and select the option Create Shared Collections. Now, here you will have a few options available. You can add the description, title is obligatory. You can also set the password for access, and you can set the expiration date. When this date comes, the shared collection will not be available by the original URL, but you will still be able to access it in the catalog and change the parameters of the collection, or simply remove the expiration date, or let's say delete the shared collection if it should not be accessible anymore. You can also download original files, allow downloading of original files. And let me click on Get Link, copy and close. And let me open a new browser window to show you what the shared collection looks like. You can send the link in Slack or in another corporate team messenger. If you're sending the link externally, you can, external meaning that you are sending the link to someone who doesn't have access to Daminion with login and password, but they need to see a subset of files that you store in the catalog. So in this case, you can send the link by, let's say, by email. Now, because I have enabled the option to download the original files, the files can be selected one by one, or you can hold down your Shift key and select all the files and download them as a single archive. Now, I can only also deselect the file. The files can be opened in full screen, and you can check the properties that are enabled to be seen in shared collections. In my case, there are just type of flooring, title, and file name. Okay, let me go back to the previous window and show you quickly how you can easily locate the shared collection. Let's say you have sent the link, and now in 2-3 days, you need to get this link again to send it to other people. So you can quickly access, let me actually drop this search. You can quickly access your shared collections in the filters panel in shared collections. So here you go. And by clicking on the three dots icon, you can access the edit menu here, copy the link again, change the parameters of the collections, etc. Now, let's say if you need to add some more images into the shared collection, and if the need comes, it's not necessary to completely recreate the collection. All you can do, you can simply select the files that you want to add. Let's say I want to add these 3 files, and now you have 2 options. You can again click on this 3 dots icon and select Add Files, or you can simply drag and drop the files into the shared collection. And now if I go back to the next window and refresh the collection, now you can see that 3 additional items have appeared. And just in the same way, if you need to remove some files from the shared collection, you can also click this icon and select the option Remove Selected Files. And the last thing that I wanted to mention, let me drop this search again. We have an option that is very useful when you're working with Daminion local server and you want to use Adobe applications and open the files by direct links from the network bus without downloading them and saving a copy of the files on your machines. So in this case, we have an option file path mapping rules for macOS. Oh, I apologize. My connection has just been lost. Sorry. Back in the server. Okay, so in this case, you will need to specify the file path mapping rules, because otherwise the users who are using macOS will not be able to work with the files stored on the network path. So here you can see the sample Windows path, the server name, and the folders where the original files are stored, and the macOS path looks like this. So it's going to be volumes, the volume number, for example, and then you will need to enter the exact location of the original files. This setting should be done once by the administrator, and all the users working on macOS in Dominion local server will be able to access the files just like Windows-based users. Okay, Kate, I believe this is it. This is all that I wanted to cover.
Thanks a lot, Daria. Well, and now we will have a final part when we will share our plans, what we are going to implement further. Let me share my screen. I believe it was really useful for everyone. Yeah, if you have any questions regarding the web part, please leave your questions in a Zoom chat. We will also get back to them later. And if you have any comments or maybe find any features really useful, feel free to do the same. Like we really appreciate your feedback. And actually, before proceeding with our plans and our roadmap for upcoming releases, I would like you to mention that Daria and Dean show really a lot of features, but not all of them. In a nutshell, Daminion supports more than 120 different file formats, and you can easily import almost any file formats, even 3D file, CAD files, or Unreal Engine files to Dominion with a few additional settings. Apart from that, we have a waiting room that literally separates the main catalog and allows you to import only files with required set of metadata. For example, if you work with freelancers or photographers who are in the field, this feature might be incredibly useful because they usually upload all the project files once the project is completed. And it will allow you to make sure that your main catalog is nice and clean and all files are tagged prior to be imported to Dominion. Well, leave your comments if we need to show you how this feature works. Talking about the tags, we have auto tagging, we have custom tags, and we also have dominant color recognitions that allows you to tag files easier and faster. By the way, geotags will be automatically displayed in Dominion, so you can simply drag and drop files to the map if it's needed, or just make sure that your files already have some geotags and geometadata, and it will be displayed on the map automatically. Well, if we talk about our upcoming release, the next one that we are waiting for is going to be really soon, I believe in this month. And as for new features, we will get tag management for tag presets and search improvement in the web. As for desktop applications, our team has optimized the speed of import to make it even more reliable and faster for large files and design Microsoft Office connector and tag visibility settings. Moreover, we are working on small improvements as well, and you can see that we have really a lot of them in this list. Well, if we talk about the future of the Daminion server, our plans just are fantastic, and the most of important things that you have to know that Daminion is built based on users' request and feedback. That's why we always ask you to share your thoughts and share what you like with Daminion software, what you find handy, what you don't like, and what you find missing, because we collect every request and put them into the table and prioritize them accordingly to the number of votes that they have for. If some features have more requests, more votes, we are going to release this feature really in short period of time, like we are trying to do our best in this case. And please don't hesitate to share what you think about Daminion and what features you would like to have in next releases, and you will see that they will appear soon. If we talk Daminion 8.0, we are planning to implement new media processors that will upload JPEG files almost instantly, multiple lightboxes, and bulk text assignment during the import, as well as basic reporting and analytic features, and much more. You can see from the list on the slide. And also we have prepared a list of features that we are selecting for Daminion 8.5. I'm not sure that every feature will be in this release. However, you can see that we are going to have a project session that's going to be like a separate area in Daminion, and it will allow you to work with all media files related to specific project, like in a separate working area. Also, we are considering variants, derivatives, approval workflow, and notification via email for this release. Also, we have crop tool and much more. As you can see, we have really great plans and would love to hear your feedback on that. All right, on the next session for today, we will answer all your questions that you already left in the chat, or if you already filled in special form before the webinar, and we will start it accordingly. So let me get my list of questions first. Well, I would like to start with the question that we received via email. Hope you don't mind, and I still waiting for a new one in the chat from you. All right, the first one was from Bernard. Like, one question, more a request, please reactivate the standalone version, no need for facial recognition, but including some additional features. The user has both standalone and home server and finds standalone version more suitable for the needs. Well, unfortunately, we will not be able to support the Daminion standalone version, but we will replace it with a brand new Daminion Lite version. That is basically home server based version. And it was done because of the number of reasons. First of all, supporting and maintenance of both versions is too complicated for us, and due to different backgrounds and due to different technical architecture stuff. And the Daminion Lite is going to be more stable and faster, let's say in 4 or 5 even times faster than the previous version, especially when we talk about importing files and searching files. And the Daminion Lite has a lot of extra functionality, like auto-rescanning folders, facial recognition, web client that will be available for Mac or Linux users and for mobile devices as well. And we are going to make sure that Daminion Lite cost going to be drastically lower than Daminion Team server pricing. It's going to be $60 per month or $500 annually as a part of annual subscription. All right, do you have any questions regarding standalone versions that we currently cover? If so, I'm waiting for them in a Zoom chat. If not yet, we can just go to Daminion team server and discuss other questions. Well, we have really a great list from one user. Let me make sure that presenter will be another person. And the first one, how to create a complex query like this one. Select all flowers, then from that group only, select red and violet flowers colors, assuming that colors are in keywords, and logic to be object XX selection, and from the initial group only, color ZZ or color YY. So Dean, please, could you show us how it's going to be work with this specific request?
Yeah, I mean, this is a classic. Am I unmuted? Let me just double check. Yes, I unmuted myself. Okay, this is a classic conundrum where you want to use different operands within the same metadata group. For example, you want to search for, a specific. Say, for example, you want to search for flowers and red or yellow, so at the moment, Daminion does not allow you to change those operands individually from and to or, it's either globally and or globally or. So a workaround in this instance would be to create another collection. I would, for example, let me see, let's just go into this. So let's find, bear with me. So I will look for example for red as a color. I'll scroll down, find all my tags here. Let's just see. So I've got red over there. So I'll use that as the first operand. And then I will look for yellow as the second keyword, and we'll jump to that one. So I'm holding my control key, and then I've got red or yellow. So now this is going to list all of these different results. And now what I can do with this is save that as a collection. So let's create a collection called red or yellow. Then I am going to, okay, just before I do that, select all these files, add a tag, and we're going to call that red or yellow. Okay, so that's got my collection there with 271 files. And then in conjunction with that, then I will use flower. I'll scroll down in the list over here to where we see flowers over there. So I'm going to select my flower, and then in addition to that, then I'm going to let me just close this off. Then I'm going to go to the collection, red or yellow, holding down my control key again. So now I can see where there is red or yellow and flower in these. So that's basically the shortcut of doing that, would be to combine two separate groups. But if you are, in that situation where you have got keywords, and there's different different groupings of those keywords in which you want to use different operands, you have to break it up into other groups, because at the moment it's the parameter, the operand applies globally to all the different parameters that you put into the query. So it's basically a workaround, not a solution.
Okay, well, thank you, Dean. And also we have a few more questions for you, so please stay with us. Next question going to be, when editing a photography externally from a client, Affinity Photo, how to manage the workflow, check in, check out, ensuring the new version of the enhanced file is uploaded back to database and any version of the file still available, original plus enhanced version.
Yeah. I think we did cover this during the feature highlight, you know, where we basically checked the file out and then, you know, had subsequent versions of that file that you could revert to. So, you know, any file that you're basically working on at the moment that's checked out of the system is locked for editing for the other users. You know, the other users won't be able to edit it or make any changes to it until it's checked back into the system. And then to access different versions of that file, you simply need to go to this. If you hover your mouse over any thumbnail, you'll see that version icon over there. So you would locate the file and then just view the version history, and all the subsequent changes would be listed below, and you can switch between different versions, export different versions, as you see the need. So regardless of what application you use, I mean, you can register any application on here on your open and checkout menus. You can simply select this option there to choose the program. So if you use Affinity Designer, AC/DC, Windows Paint, you know, whatever application you use, you can simply define the external tools. You can even assign, you know, shortcut keys to it. You know, so I can simply select the file here and press V or E, and work with them. Depending on the application, it's entirely up to, you know, what editing tools you use.
Okay, thank you, Dean. I believe it was useful. Next one going to be regarding the synchronizing of metadata. Write to files, like if metadata are modified by another program, is there a way to choose if Daminion metadata will prime, or if metadata from the other program are already written to the file will prime? What option in Daminion to resolve metadata conflicts?
Yeah, this is actually something that you would work on server side. You know, so on your Daminion server, there is a specific option. Let me just get there. Give me a second. It's on your preferences where, let me just think, is it now on here, or it may be on the catalog? Bear with me for a second. Just double check. I probably looked right over it. Well, it basically what you want to do is, sorry, I'm fumbling around now, is on your, you know, you've got the option here to switch between all tags, approved tags, and unapproved tags. So, you know, at the moment on this catalog, I don't have this approval setting switched on. That's why I was fumbling around for it. But what this basically does is it gives you the ability to switch, you know, to curate what metadata you ingest into the system. So say, for example, you purchase, you know, 1,000 images from a stock agency that come pre-populated with metadata, and you ingest them into the system. You know, it would be prudent to activate that, you know, approval setting in your catalog. And then those tags will show up as lilac. They've got a very light lilac or pinkish hue to them. And then you can select and approve, you know, to ingest them into the system. So you have got that curation level, you know, where you can basically see what you want to ingest into the system and simply remove what you do not want to ingest into the system. And then also you can activate and deactivate your metadata synchronization, which means you are in full control of what comes into the system and what gets written back into the files. I hope that answers the question.
Yeah, that's really good to know. It seems that Daria want to add something. Daria,
yes. Sorry, Dean, I had a coughing fit when I wanted to help you with the setting. So the setting is located in the administration panel, preferences, and then you go reading metadata.
Yeah, I looked right over it, eh?
Yeah, so marking for syntax is unapproved.
It was on the first panel that I opened. I just looked completely right through it. So yeah, this is the option that I was referring to earlier, where if you select this option, any new item that comes into your catalog, if there is metadata in there that gets ingested into the system, they will be marked as unapproved. So you're going to have to manually curate the metadata that gets added into your catalog.
Also, Dean, if let's say the metadata are updated for the files that are already in the system, let's say the file ABC is already uploaded in Daminion, and then someone's go to, let's say, Photoshop and add some information to that file. So in this case, what the end user can do, they can activate automatic rescan on the folder and select the option to update catalog tags for modified files. And these new sets of tags will also come as unapproved, so the end users will be able to quickly locate them.
Okay, thanks a lot, Daria. That's really good to know. And well, I have questions for both of you regarding shared collection and dynamic collection in Daminion. By dynamic means criteria defined in advance and any new documents with mismatch. The criteria will be automatically added to this collection. Could you please show us how it works?
Sure. The thing with shared collections is that they are dynamic, so it depends on the metadata. Like I demonstrated earlier to you, this untagged images 2020 would be a prime example of that, where when I changed the metadata within the file or changed some parameter on the file, the number of results that this search returned, was changed. So that would be an example of a dynamic collection of files. And then the collections, they are the static collections of files. So it doesn't matter how many changes I make to the metadata or rename the file or whatever I do to that particular collection, it's static. The items in it's never going to change. So that would be the prime difference between the types of collections. Excuse me. Do you have anything to add, Daria?
Sorry, I was muted. Because the question was asked basically shared collections and dynamic collections. I'm not sure what exactly was meant, but just to clarify, the shared collections cannot be converted into a dynamic collection, because remember that basically shared collections give you an access. Well, not you as a user of Daminion, but it can give access to external users to part of the catalog that the external users do not have access to by default. So you specifically define what files should be seen by this specific link. And just imagine if shared collections were to be converted into a dynamic collection, if a file gets into the catalog and it corresponds the criteria of that shared collection, this file will get into the shared collection automatically. And the users who have this link, this URL address, will get the access to all the new files coming into the shared collection. This is like really undesirable for the majority of the end users, because again, shared collections give you an access to the part of the catalog that you normally do not have access to, and it should be defined only manually.
It's actually good that you point that out, Daria, because the only difference between regular collections and shared collections is that shared collections are accessible over the URL. Otherwise they behave more or less the same as standard collections. The only difference is that you can set those parameters like expiration date, whether people can download the files from your collection, and also have it expire, so have it available temporarily. But otherwise, they also behave as static collections.
Okay, thanks guys a lot to add more information about shared collection and dynamic collection. Well, I believe we have Maurice with us today. If something isn't clear to you, please leave any comments in the chat and we will comment a bit later. And I believe that all questions that we received via email are already over, and so we can get directly to Zoom chat and answer questions from there. Well, and the first will be regarding facial recognition. Where is my facial recognition? I cannot find it. I have a version 7.5. Well, I'm not sure who is going to be the right person to address this question to.
I'll take a go at it. You need to install it. There is with the Daminion, your Daminion server comes with a setup file, and then there is a separate file that is distributed for facial recognition. And until you install that on the server machine, these options are not going to be available in the client. So I think it's a simple matter of just updating your software to the current version and running the installation, and then this will be available in the clients as well.
Dean, let's also mention that face recognition is only available for Dominion server. It can be home server, team server, or Dominion server Lite. So Meryl, if you are using Dominion standalone, this option is not going to be available for you.
Yeah.
Thanks a lot, guys. Well, next one is going to be from another participant, Case Clean. And if I create a safe search, will it be visible to other team members, or does each person need to create their own version of the safe search? So Dean, please.
The safe searches are catalog wide, and I believe the collections are on user accounts. So if you want to share a collection of files with the other users on your system, then create a saved search. And the collections, are they also catalog wide, Daria? I believe they are per user, right?
The shared collections.
Collections.
No. The regular collections are basically just like any other tags. They're accessible
but are they
members.
Are they specific to individual users, or are they catalog wide?
Catalogs, catalog wide.
So both of them are catalog wide, yes.
Okay, and one more question regarding the safe search. Are they applied to the whole catalog, or applied to the catalog to which safe searches have already been applied? For example, do safe searches start from the scratch, or are they cascade?
Yeah, catalog wide.
Catalog wide. Okay. Well, and we also have a comment from Graham. I have found Dominion really useful for integrated with my affiliate file, but more advanced facility would be welcome. Okay, thanks a lot for your comment, and we will add it in our request list. Well, let me take a look at another one. Will Dominion team develop soon integration with products from Affinity, Photo, and Publisher, and also Affinity Designer?
Okay, let me take this one. So at this moment, we are gathering requests for this type of the integration from the end users. So far, we have received 3, if counting Tom's request in the chat. So this is the third one. We are going to register this as a feature request, and with all the requests coming from the end users. And I believe we will need a few more requests to start implementing this feature to make sure that it's going to be used by at least a dozen of clients. Otherwise, the implementation efforts will need to be postponed a little bit.
Thank you, Daria. Well, I hope everything is clear, that we are working on it, but not instantly. And would be happy to hear if someone else is requiring exactly the same feature. Well, we also have another question from Stefan. I would like to copy tag and paste tag on a right click on an image rather than select and move into the menu left. Or I have missed something. Well, Dean, you're sharing your screen. Could you please?
Basically, the request is to have this, copy tags functionality, which is available on the edit menu, to have that included in the context menu as well.
It's on directions. It's supposed to be on directions, or you can use the shortcut. Can you go a little bit down? Actions. Copy preview, so it's a little bit deep in the drop down menu, but you can use the shortcut. It can be, probably a little bit awkward for a couple of times. But I personally use it regularly in my workflow, and now it's just, I don't know, my fingers have got used to it, so it's a very easy shortcut to use.
Yeah, not one that I use on a daily basis.
Another one. So Stefan, is everything clear regarding how to copy and paste tag? Please let us know if we need to show you once again. Well, next question going to be regarding facial recognition. Well, please explain warning message displayed when assigning people properties tag name is, I believe, blinded with recognized face. To prevent data collision, please use face recognition windows only. Could you please expand on that, Dean?
Yeah, I believe that's when there is a conflict. When you're either trying to assign. Say, for example, Daminion has detected a face and you've tagged it, and then you want to assign that name again. I think that is when you will get this specific message. I have not run into it myself yet, but I think there's just a conflict that either the face has been tagged already, or or you're trying to add a specific tag to an image that already has that face assigned. That's the only reason that I can see for that particular message. What I suggest you do is just to drop one of drop an email to support, and the guys can have a look at it. Like I said earlier, this is probably the second iteration of this facial recognition algorithm. I doubt that it's a bug. It sounds like there is a conflict in the tags, but please drop us an email just so that the developers can have a look at that, and then we can give you a conclusive answer as to what's going wrong.
Okay, well, if you receive this message once again, it's better to contact our support team, and we will check what's going on and get back with detailed reply to you, or maybe even schedule a call with Daria to make sure that everything is working properly. Well, talking about facial recognition, we have another question. Are there any search capabilities that are available within facial recognition tool?
Let me take this one, Kate. We are going to add the search capability for facial recognition tool version 2. Right now, there is no such capability. I believe it's especially needed in the second tab that we have, which is persons. Basically, the tab where you have already assigned the names to the group of faces, and to be able to easily search for a specific group based on the name. So we are going to add this feature in the new upcoming version of face recognition.
Wow, that sounds really exciting. And I believe that is going to be last question, or please ask more in our Zoom chat. So please explain the difference between ignored faces and rejected.
Okay, I'm going to also take this one. So rejected are the faces that basically no one knows who these people are, and no one in the team can possibly tag these people. Maybe there are faces recognized from mass events, or some faces like, okay, like this one that Dean is showing right now. So Dean is actually running one of the early builds of 7.6, and he doesn't have the rejected tab yet. In the latest builds, we have added the rejected tab specifically for these images that are recognized as faces, but they are not faces. And ignored can be the faces that you as a user don't know who these people are, but someone from your team can know this person, the specific person, and they can later log into the system and assign the names. So this is the logic behind. Maybe we will be leaving only one tab again, ignored or rejected. We are still working on face recognition module, and the new version is going to be available soon.
Thank you, Daria. It seems that we are going to continue our discussion regarding the safe search. And if the safe search are catalog-wide, is another way of drilling down by applying a search, them searching on another criterion with the previously searched data set. Could you give me a comment, please?
Yeah, sure. I mean, you can simply load a saved search and then apply additional criteria to it. So the second I've over here, I've got my saved search load untagged images 2020. Let's say now I want to include 2021 as well. I can simply hold my control key and select 2021 in addition to that, switch that to OR, and then I've got that expanded. So you can build on it, you can change it, you can edit it from here by adding new parameters, changing all of these, and build your search accordingly. So it's not like a rigidly saved. It's basically like you're bookmarking a specific search. So you can go back to it and you can change it, add parameters to it, remove parameters from it. The saved search is basically just a bookmark to the search results that you're working with.
Thank you, Dean. So Graham, please let us know if everything is clear or if you need any additional information on safe search. I believe we have an article in our database, and you can also check it there. Well, okay, good to know that it was helpful. Well, and also, I believe that facial recognition is one of the most popular features for today. Another question from Tom Adams. For facial recognition, can you implement a allocate similar faces so that if you have a picture of an unnamed person, you can find all of the other pictures of the same person within the catalog? So yes. Who would like to take this one?
No, it definitely does. Let's have a look, for example. So if now this particular, let's just see, is this all one image? I believe it is. Yeah, let's just find one where we have got, okay, so this will definitely be more than one image. We've got the person detected there, person detected there. So if I want to, tag this, but I don't want this particular one as part of this grouping, I can remove this person from this grouping, and then, they will be moved down to the bottom because it, the facial recognition detection works from the most number of files that are detected in a group to the least number of files. So if I remove this person from the group, she's going to jump way down to the bottom, so I'm going to have to load more until I get to where there is one person remaining. But you can, edit the faces that are detected in here by removing her from here. So I can also choose here to name this person individually, excuse me, or just simply ignore them from the detection, in which case they'll go into ignored faces. So yeah, that would be, that's the way that I would approach a workflow on here.
Dean, I'm not quite sure if this answers Tom's question. Tom, if you're still with us, maybe you could unmute yourself and let us know if this is what you meant, or you had something different in mind.
Look, it could also be a matter of what Tom is referring to is that you basically have a what I'm seeing is a slider where you can maybe adjust the sensitivity, where you'll have two people, person A and person B. And if there is, just to have the detection a bit fuzzier and not as rigid, so be able to maybe set a gradient of detection. I don't know, at this stage, I don't know of anything like that in our software.
Okay, let me, I see that Tom is here. Tom, could you please clarify your question? It would be very helpful, because it's more like a feature request, so we would really want to know what specifically you would like to see.
So right now I have a catalog that may have 300, 400,000 images in it. I'm never going to be able to scroll down this facial recognition screen you're showing to be able to see all the groupings there. There's just way too many people in each picture
Right.
to be able to sort of go through the process. I'd much rather be able to go to an individual asset image there that might have one or two faces in the image itself, looking just directly at the catalog, and then be able to go and say, I want to take a look, I want to locate all of the similar faces, the same person in all of my pictures there. And that would be hugely appreciated, because there's no way I'm ever going to be able to tag, or I will even able to know what all the people's names are of the collection of pictures I have.
Mm-hmm.
I just want to be able to identify where is this other person located in my collections.
Yeah, I got it. It does that at the moment, so if I was to tag the one person, and then after that, add more images into the catalog of that one person, it's going to ask you, is this that person? And you can simply hit yes or no, and it will automatically assign everything that it finds and detect as that person to that person's tag.
Tom, let me please ask you how much experience with face recognition module you have at this point. Did you get to the point where Daminion suggests you, or basically asks you, if the group of people is a specific person or not? So are you familiar with this part of the functionality?
Yes, I was able to sort of do that, but I'm still not able to sort of get to the appropriate grouping there, because there's just way too many groupings in my list.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
All right, it seems that we might need to arrange an additional training for this feature to make sure that everything.
This is what happens in that instance, where I've now tagged a person and it sees that person is existing in here, so I can simply go yes or no, and it will, and that's the next grouping. Yes, that's the same person. That's the same person. That's the same person. So, it identifies subsequent additions to it. As long as it's identified the first tag, when you add more people into the mix, it's going to detect them and just ask you yes or no, is this the same person?
Okay, we could discuss this offline, I think.
Yeah.
Okay, Tom, if you don't mind, we can schedule another call because I have a few clarifications for your requests still. So if you don't mind, we can, schedule a call this week or next week to specifically discuss face recognition. What do you
Okay,
think?
great.
Okay.
Great.
Okay, thank you, Dean. Thank you, Daria. And also, like Stefan just mentioned, that everything is clear to him right now. And thanks a lot for giving us a 5-star to Dominion server. Well, it seems that we don't have any questions in our Zoom chat. If you have any question, it's going to be like a final chance to ask us about anything. Feel free to unmute yourself and maybe introduce yourself and ask a question right now or in a Zoom chat, like whatever is more comfortable and convenient for you. We are here to cover all of them. Well, yeah, we have one. Good. Thank you, Graham. Any comment on a possible link to Affinity? Well, as my colleague mentioned before, like we are gathering such requests and we need to get at least thousands of them to add this feature in our roadmap. So we have to count how many of them do we have right now. And yeah, you can also email us about this feature request, because we will definitely add it in the list and prioritize them accordingly. I'm not sure that it's going to be this year because this year is already planned. Maybe like for releases in next year, we'll have this feature for you. Anything else that you would like to ask us today? Okay, well, it seems that we don't have any more questions. And it seems that you start leaving our webinar. Thanks a lot for joining us today. We do appreciate it. Thanks a lot for your questions. I believe it was really useful discussion for all of us. And if you would like to contact us directly, you can reach us out at technical support@dominion.net. If you have any general questions, inquiries, or just want to share feedback on Dominion, you can send us an email on team@dominion.net or sales@dominion.net. We are trying to reply to every email, and we really appreciate all your warm words and kind words to us for today. Well, thanks a lot. Have a nice day or have a nice evening if you're in Europe. Well, thank you.
Thank you.
Bye-bye now.